All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our weekly Walking Dead review for this week. We have now the premiere for Fear the Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 1, The Beacon. Alright, so you guys know the drill at this point. It's been released on AMC Plus and streaming. Most places have it now. And for regular AMC viewers, you can watch it next Sunday night. It's going to premiere. So we got Walking Dead World Beyond Season 2, which is on its third episode. Walking Dead Season 11 has now finished its first 8 episodes for its final third of its final season. And Fear the Walking Dead continuing with Season 7. Likely will probably get renewed for Season 8. And then we'll see after that, because we don't know if they're going to run Fear the Walking Dead with the original Walking Dead being over at that point. Granted, the movies at some point are going to come in, and there might be other spin-offs and stuff. So we'll see what they do. So the premiere episode for Season 7 of Fear, getting a good time of the year release. They've kind of, AMC has sort of given over, it seems, their October kind of release slot to Fear the Walking Dead, showing the original Walking Dead early, and now having Fear the Walking Dead Season 7 premiere in at the usual time when we're usually seeing Walking Dead premiere for its fall premiere. So I'm kind of surprised to see a Season 7, but not really, because I do think the last few years of Fear, they've had some really great stuff, but it is surprising to see them get 7 full seasons of the show, and then probably 8, and then we'll see after that. So the premiere episode, The Beacon. So this is basically a Strand episode for Fear the Walking Dead. Spoilers to follow, spoiler warning, it actually doesn't contain any other survivors from Fear the Walking Dead except for Strand and the gentleman that he met during the blast last season in Season 6, which his name is Howard. And then also we get the appearance of, I think he's a brand new character, which is named Will, who, we're kind of seeing sort of from his perspective. So in this first episode for Season 7 of Fear, you kind of have Will who meets Strand, and we get to see sort of an update of what's been going on with Strand, with this tower group that he has kind of built up since the blast. So, as you might imagine, after the nukes went off, or the nuke warheads went off at the end of Season 6, and you have kind of a new type of apocalypse in Fear the Walking Dead, in Walking Dead universe, which is nuclear fallout. So you have the locations where the Holding and Teddy had kind of shot this thing off from the submarine, and then we have Strand there, and he's kind of setting up a new group. So he sees opportunity in the destruction, and he's been kind of allowing people who have been passing through to join with him. He's created kind of his own sort of community here, of which he is kind of the supreme ruler dictator, right? Dictator Strand. And I like that his kind of gear, he's got like this like old school, like commander type of uniform on. He's got like a sword from, like he mentions, from 1812, the Battle of 1812. Which is really funny. And then so he runs into Will. So we pretty much find out as this episode goes through that Will was part of a couple of different groups here. Vasquez, and then you have, who was like a Democrat, I guess, was a politician that he was a part of. And then eventually at some point here ran into Alycia, and then eventually has now run into Strand. It sounds like 50 days. He says he was out in kind of the apocalyptic post nuclear apocalyptic zombie apocalypse. So you do get to see some pretty crazy kind of zombies in this one. There may be like the nastiest zombies we've ever seen. Like they're kind of like melting, and they're sort of like they're disintegrating, it seems like, right? And you have like kind of these scenes with a lot of like, it seems like yellow filter and different kind of greens and yellows as a result of the nuke. I like, again, the Strand kind of intro in this one. So they've sort of been doing this for a little while now. I feel like they started doing this in about season 6, where they would have like vignette type episodes, so they'd have like each one focus on a different survivor from our group of survivors. So this Strand focus episode, you pretty much get to see Strand maybe finish his transformation into being a villain. It seems like throughout the series, Strand kind of starts as like this sly kind of, I want to say cunning, not really. He kind of seems like he's a good guy, but he's got the darker side to him as well too. And it sort of feels like at this point, Strand has pretty much given up on trying to be a good guy and trying to make that work. And at this point, he's really starting to just embrace his darkness. And at the end, we see him kind of throw Will, who's our new kind of survivor in this one, who seems like they might be using him quite a bit. At least the way he's talking to Strand near the end, it kind of feels like he's going to try to help Strand, lead this group and what have you. And maybe in some ways, Strand sees this possibly as a threat to him, and has been going with his instincts, so he just throws him off the roof to his doom, to his death. And then you see all these walkers coming in around, and they kind of set up a beacon, which is like the top of like a lighthouse or what have you, which is kind of there illuminating the place. And you have walkers kind of coming in to chow down on Will and then everything else. We also get Padre in this one, which I'll have to look up what that exactly means, and a message to him. And so it's, I feel like it's a decent premiere episode of the series of Fear the Walking Dead. It's can I say it's probably not as good, at least I don't like it as much as the season 6 premiere, where you got to see Morgan, you got to see him go after the bounty hunter, you had Virginia, all that kind of stuff going on. But this is pretty much a villain origin episode, I want to say, for Strand. So you're getting to see him really embrace that side of himself, and it seems like to me finish his evolution, finish his transformation from not being sure to 100% being certain that this is who he is, and that and it doesn't seem like he's going to deviate back, in that it kind of feels like at the end he's kind of closed himself off by using the light, having all the walkers kind of come in. It feels like a way to kind of close himself off and not have anybody else kind of try to come in who might be a threat to him, like I think at some point here he thinks Will might be. So 128 people used to live there, it sounds like. So you have the different survivors of Fear kind of starting their own groups, it seems like. And surprisingly in this one, it kind of feels like Morgan, him being with Grace in the submarine, which I believe he's somewhere around there still from the season 6 finale. It kind of feels like him and Grace are, even though Morgan used to be kind of like the leader of his own group and everything, it feels like that's kind of been lost because of everything that's happened. He's managed to survive, and so has Grace, but at the same time, he's kind of lost that group that they were building. And we don't really know what the fate of everybody else is. We don't know where Dwight is, what's going on with him, Daniel, all the others, like everybody else. In this premiere episode, it just focuses only on Strand with the villain origin episode. So it's a little strange, I think, to go with a villain origin for your premiere episode of a season, but he has been in the series since the very beginning, and I think it feels like in this episode, by the ending especially, that they're really setting him up to be like the new villain post Teddy. So you had Virginia, and then you had Teddy, right, who kind of came in after that with the holding and everything. And now we have Strand, who it feels like by the time you watch the end of this episode, that's where he's at this point, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be going back on that. So it's a good episode. I like some of it. Some of it did make me kind of laugh. They're talking about no faces out there now, all masks, which I like because it's just like real life, right? And I think that's most of what I want to say about it. So the question is, if Strand at some point here, which likely he will, be reunited with Alycia, will they be able to coexist? Will she be able to have an impact on him so maybe he comes back a little bit from this kind of darker version of himself that he's kind of become? And it doesn't seem to me like Morgan. I kind of get the sense that Strand doesn't like Morgan when he gets a mention of him in this one. And I think there are some scenes in the trailer for this season where you see like him and Morgan kind of going a little bit back and forth about him hurting people and Morgan not being okay with that. Now, Morgan probably won't know about this incident with Will, but we can see that it seems like that's exactly what Strand is going to do, at least with some people. So it's it's an okay episode to start off the season. I'm going to give it a 7.7 out of 10, I think, for this one. I don't think it was amazing, but it is cool to see the kind of nuclear post-zombie apocalypse going here. It is good to see Strand we've never really seen him before lead his own group, and to do so in a way where it seems like he's full on evil. It doesn't seem like he's going to be coming back from it at all. So at some point here, Morgan and the others, could we see Strand be killed off later on this season? Could we see villain Strand have to be defeated at some point here if he continues down this path? And it kind of seems like that's probably the case. So hopefully we get to see more of our Fear survivors pretty soon. Episode 2, Episode 3, get caught up with everybody. From the preview of Episode 2, it looks like it's like a Morgan Grace one. So I think that the character focus episodes worked out really well in Season 6. But after seeing this premiere episode for this one, I'm not sure if it's going to work, continued but we probably won't see every episode, like only one survivor ever, because Fear has a huge roster. So to see it only focus on just Strand, and then the others are kind of like new characters and what have you, is, it's a little odd considering how many, survivors they actually have in the Fear roster. So that's my review of the premiere episode. I did like it and everything, and I mostly like it for the setup that we could be seeing for Strand as a villain. And could he be maybe one of like the final villains of Fear, or at least one of the biggest, baddest villains that Fear has ever had, considering he's kind of one of our own since he's been in the series since the first season. So what do you guys think? What are your predictions? How do you think Morgan will respond to this? And then at some point here, if Alycia has her own group or has another group, how do you think she will respond if she, meets him again and, finds out maybe some of the things he's been doing, or just gets to kind of get a sense of, how he is now? That'll be it for this review, guys. If you'd like to, please thumb it up below, share, favorite, and subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys soon for another video. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.